The world doesn't stop to hear your voice, it demands it, pulling every thought from your lips until you're left empty. What if the truest rebellion isn't in speaking louder but in choosing when to say nothing at all? Seneca, the Roman Stoic, stood in a storm of imperial noise, emperors boasting, senators scheming, crowds roaring for blood in the Colosseum. Yet he saw strength in the stillness others overlooked. He didn't chase the clamor. He knew the man who masters silence masters himself, and through that, the world. Every word you let slip is a piece of you handed over, a fragment others can twist or wield against you. Silence, though, is a fortress, unbreachable, unshaken, where your power grows in the shadows of what you refuse to reveal. Picture a marketplace in ancient Rome, voices clashing like swords, each vendor shouting to drown out the next. Then imagine one figure, calm and quiet, drawing eyes not with noise, but with the weight of his presence, his restraint a magnet in a sea of chaos. We live in an age where everyone races to be heard, spilling their fears, their plans, their souls into the void of screens and airwaves. But Seneca would ask, what do you gain by giving everything away, when holding back could make you untouchable? Think of the last time you spoke too quickly, words tumbling out before you could catch them, leaving regret in their wake. That moment wasn't just a slip. It was a lesson in how every unnecessary sound weakens the ground you stand on. The one who talks without end feeds a mirage, letting others see only the surface while the depths stay hidden. The quiet one, though, watches, eyes sharp, mind steady, letting the world reveal itself while they remain a mystery. Our culture worships the loud, mistaking volume for authority, as if shouting could carve your name into stone. Yet Seneca knew the loudest voice often belongs to the weakest soul, scrambling to prove what silence could simply embody. Consider the leader who explains every step, desperate to justify what needs no defense. Their words pile up like sand, easily swept away. Then think of the one who speaks only when the moment demands it, their voice cutting through like a blade forged in quiet. We're drowning in a flood of confessions, every thought posted, every flaw bared, as if this openness sets us free. But Seneca saw freedom in restraint, in choosing what to keep close, letting the rest fade into the stillness. Imagine a debate where one side rushes to fill every pause, their arguments spilling over like water from a cracked jar. The other waits, unmoved, letting the silence stretch until their opponent stumbles, proving power lies not in volume, but in control. Silence isn't one thing, it's a spectrum, a tool with edges honed for different ends. Seneca might call it the art of living deliberately, a way to bend fate toward you without ever raising your voice. There's the silence that listens, soaking in the world while others pour themselves out. The fool speaks first, eager to be known. The wise linger, gathering truths from what others can't hold back. Then there's the silence that commands, growing heavier with every word you withhold. A single sentence from a quiet soul lands like thunder, while a chatterer's drone fades into the wind. And there's the silence that cloaks you, letting others project their hopes or fears onto the blank slate you offer. By saying less, you become more. A riddle they solve with their own minds, leaving you free to move unseen. Seneca lived this in Nero's court, surrounded by flattery and betrayal, where a careless word could mean death. He didn't survive by shouting his virtue. He endured by knowing when to let the silence speak for him. Ever notice how a pause can unravel someone? How the absence of sound presses them to fill it, often with more than they meant to give. In that tension, power shifts to the one who stays still, letting the other's neediness hand them the reins. The braggart yells his strength, but it's the one who stands unflinching, lips sealed, who leaves you wondering what they're capable of. Silence doesn't beg for respect. It takes it, wrapping you in its quiet gravity. We've been taught that sharing everything is brave, that laying your soul bare proves you're alive. But what if Seneca was right? What if true courage lies in guarding what matters, letting the trivial dissolve into the air? Today, we broadcast every flicker of thought, as if the world needs a map to our minds. Each post, each confession, draws a line others can trace to outmaneuver you, while the quiet one stays a step ahead, their limits unknown. Think of the friend who overshares, their life an open scroll, predictable, familiar, safe. Then think of the one who holds back, their silence a wall you can't scale, their mystery pulling you closer. Seneca didn't preach deception. He taught discernment, knowing what to say and what to let drift into the void. Power isn't in the words you speak, but in the ones you bury, letting their absence shape the battlefield. So how do you carry this into your life in a world that never stops talking? It begins with a choice to pause, to listen, to see the moment before you fill it with sound. Next time you're tempted to speak, ask yourself, does this strengthen me? Or does it just ease the quiet I fear? That hesitation might shield you from a promise you'd break or a wound you'd regret. In a heated moment, try holding the silence. Let it stretch. Let it press against the noise until the other side cracks. You'll feel the tide turn, the way strength flows to the one who doesn't flinch. When you do speak, make it sharp. Words that pierce, not scatter, aimed at what moves the needle. Silence keeps them potent, a quiver of arrows you draw only when the target's clear. There's a strange truth here. The less you say, the more you echo in others' minds. They lean in, they guess, they build you up, because the unknown is a canvas, and silence lets them paint. Seneca wasn't a saint or a schemer. He was a man who saw through the noise, who won by stepping back when others lunged forward. We call him wise not for what he shouted, but for what he left unsaid, letting his life speak through the gaps. Look at those who rise today. Not always the loudest, but the ones who wait, who watch, who strike when the iron's hot. Their silence isn't hollow. It's a loaded chamber, ready to fire when the rest have exhausted their shots. We're buried under updates, opinions, the relentless hum of a world begging to be heard. But what if the real victory isn't in joining the chorus, but in stepping out of it, letting the noise collapse under its own weight? The masters of this game don't need to declare their wins. They live them, outpacing the rest in quiet strides. Their silence isn't a retreat. It's a presence so distilled it cuts through the haze like light. So here's the question that lingers, the one I leave burning in your mind. If you stopped chasing the sound and claimed the silence instead, what strength might you uncover in the spaces you've left empty?